Hello folks, Why Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very beautiful spring evening. The name of this video is called The Why Guy Most Embarrassing Experience. And the reason I'm sharing this experience is because it's the embarrassing experience is the reason why I'm doing YouTube videos. And it's a reason I go by the name of The Why Guy. There's a reason for this madness, okay? And I just want to share it because it's taken me about 8 years now. If you look back on some of my first videos, they were over 8 years ago. And I have never shared this. This is the first time. But I think it's time to share an embarrassing experience and why I'm even doing these videos. You know, there was a point in time where I was literally yelling at God, telling him, how can I trust you, God? How can I put my life into your hands and trust you with my eternal life when the majority of people are going to hell? Literally, as far as I understood. If I can't trust you for them, then how can I trust you for me? You know, I can't love someone I don't trust, and I sure can't trust someone who will sanction the endless torment of countless people. You know, as I wept and I spoke these words and these questions that I asked through angry, gritted teeth, and I'm not exaggerating. If anything, I'm toning it down. All right? Just moments before I went through this ordeal. Oh, believe me, there's more to the ordeal than what I'm saying right now. But all I want to do was sit at the dining room table and just plunk a few chords, you know, do a little finger picking and just unwind. That's what guitar players like to do sometimes. And they can zone. We can zone and just listen to the music as if we're not even playing it. It's really weird, okay? But that's all I was planning on doing. But yet, I heard this question interrupt me in the middle of this playing that said, deep inside of me, asked me, why do you believe this way? And this was in reference to, you know, if I can't trust you with myself, I can't trust you, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Why do you believe this way? That was it right there. This profound question became the birth of the Why Guy. All right? And for the sake of my own sanity, I had to find out the answer to why did I believe that way. That's why I'm so passionate about asking other people why they believe what they believe. So you see, embarrassingly, I tried to end my life just days prior to this experience at that table. And so as I sat at the table weeping and literally screaming at God, I heard another little soft, incredible soft voice deep inside of me. I can't explain it. It's more of hearing a feeling this time. It was more of hearing a feeling, and it's a weird way to put it. Some people will relate with it and others won't. But I heard a feeling that was instructing me, sing to me. And I knew just what it was. I was supposed to sing about my grievances that I had towards God. Sing them. What a weird thing to do, huh? Sing a grievance. So, you know, writing songs wasn't new to me at all. And I've been composing music for over 35 years. And I've written dozens of songs, both lyrics and music alike. But this time it was completely, totally different because it was the first time that I've ever written a song out of anger instead of gratitude. Major difference, okay? Get this, the title of the song was Why? Go figure, huh? In the key of E major for you who are musicians. You know, this was the last song that I've written, and it's been about 8 years now. I don't know why. I never asked that question. Why is this the last song I've ever written? I don't know. I really don't. But it went like this. I've shared, by the way, this song. I have shared it on previous, maybe a year or two ago. I shared this song on my YouTube channel. And look it up, okay? If you're interested at all. But the words go like this: my heart breaks when I hear the news of innocence suffering pain. I ask myself the reasons why, when God's alive to sustain His will. There's so much I need to hear And there's so much to believe. If I'm to walk in victory, I ask you, Lord, help me please to see. I know in the depth of my heart that all things will justify. And I know that God in his way will cause us all to rely on his love. I ask myself so many times if what I believe is true, that God so loved the world he gave. It seems to me there's much more for him to do. I know in the depths of my heart that all things will justify, and I know that God in his way will cause us all to rely on his love. I sometimes blame you, O Lord, for all the pain I feel. Your hand seems so short to me in dealing with this life, a mystery. I know in the depth of my heart that all things will justify, and I know that God in his way will cause us all to rely on his love. Well, let me go back just a little bit of the reasons why, because I'm sure a lot of people, reasons why I try to off myself. There's two reasons, okay? The death of a very, very close family member happened at the exact same time that my testosterone level bottomed out, just crashed. Okay, and I didn't know it. So I had no desire to live. It broke me, folks. I mean, it broke me. I didn't know a person could be broken like that. And a lot of people can relate with what I'm saying. So, in the middle of one winter night, I was hoping to freeze to death and or drown while laying up to my chest in some frigid water on the banks of a rushing river. I mean, there's snow on the ground all around and frozen water here and there, and it was bitter cold. Okay, and I've never drank before in my life, so I was hoping that the fifth of rum that I just guzzled, it would help me pass out. That's what I was thinking. See, my plan was flawless. You see, it was threefold. I would pass out either from the booze or the cold, and if the cold didn't kill me, then I'd be swept up and pulled downstream and drowned. This is what's odd, not only did I not get alcohol poisoning, considering I wasn't accustomed to it at all, but I didn't get sleepy, nor even cold, even after being in that frigid water for about 20 minutes. Not at all. I crawled out of the water, a bit dumbfounded and confused, and found the phone that I had just tossed somewhere in the bushes. And this is late at night. I don't even know how I found the phone. Anyway, and I called my wife for help. There was a lot more to this. I'm just skimming the surface, okay? A lot more to this. The next day, a pastor friend of mine, he comes up by my wife's asking him to. He came up, and he basically warned me that between he and my wife, they had the ability, they had the authority to institutionalize me for my stunt. And if I didn't agree to counseling, well, I like my freedom, so of course I agreed. The year of counseling, and for a full year, it began as well as my visits to a doctor's office about the testosterone issue. Well, while at the doctor's office, I noticed this Time magazine. This is years ago. What is this dated? April 25th of 2011. See, now you know when all this happened to me. So it was right within probably a week or two of this publication. But this magazine here, notice the title right there? What if there's no hell? That caught my eye when I was sitting in the doctor's office, waiting. And so I began to read this, and let me read what it says as far as the subtitle. It says, a popular pastor's best-selling book has stirred fierce debate about sin, salvation, and judgment, written by John Meacham. This guy here, I'm real impressed with how he did it, because surprisingly, because he's secular, obviously, surprisingly, the unbiased article was well written about Rob Bell and his book, Love Wins, and how the mainstream church leaders, whatever that means and whoever they are, right, they were coming against the book and calling it heresy. Well, while reading a few of his pages, it occurred to me that I must be one of them there heretics as well, because since I didn't disagree with any of the quotes in here from Rob Bell. So anyway, after the doctor's office, let me put up a few more, whoa, almost knocked over the camera. A few more notes here that I want to share. Anyway, after this doctor's appointment, I took the magazine home, and I YouTubed this character, this Rob Bell. And after watching a few of his videos, I came across a video of another author and missionary dentist by the name of Jerry Boschman. And he was defending Rob Bell's perspective. That's how I came across his. So let me digress for a moment by saying there was far more of what was taking place at the same time, this time frame, as what I'm sharing here, such as a friend turned me on to Martin Zender, who I completely adore, okay? And the same friend pointed out one of the many flaws that is written in the Strong's Concordance, which I found out was based on the King James Bible, so no wonder there's many flaws. But he proved it. He proved the one that got me going on this, how the Greek word aeonian, in the Strong's, it means both a segment of time as well as meaning the exact polar opposite, as in a time without end, eternal. It can't be both, all right? So, while researching these claims, I came across one of Gary Amaralt's 10-second videos where he was just looking at the camera and just kind of smirking a little bit, looking up there, and he was just kind of smirking, and he says, there is no hell. And that was it. That was the whole video. And so I, at the time, I thought he was an idiot, not knowing. I had no idea how cool this guy was, and that he had a website called tentmaker.org that happens to have the best information found anywhere on earth about the Bible and church history. I'll come back to that in a second, but let's come back to my friend Jerry Boschman, okay? On one of his many videos, he offered a free download of his book titled Hope Beyond Hell. And by the way, Jerry has taken over the Tent Maker. I believe he's taken over the tentmaker.org ministry, all right? He's real easy to talk to. And anyway, he's awesome. Just wanted to point that out. Anyway, so I downloaded this guy's, Jerry's book, Hope Beyond Hell, for the purpose to disprove him and disprove Rob Bell and disprove this Gary Amaralt guy, right? So at the time that I was reading on my laptop this download of Hope Beyond Hell, I had a whole bunch of Bibles, different versions opened up on my desk along with the Strong's Concordance, and I was going to show them, And as I was reading Jerry's book, my head was shaking. No, this can't be true. And all along, deep within me, this little voice was soothingly saying, yes, yes. So there was this conflict going on inside of my heart and my mind. So what finally did take me over the edge, and I don't know if it was the same day or following day or whatever, but on Jerry's website, he had a video by, I hope you're not getting these names mixed up, Gary Amaralt's wife, Michelle Amaralt, titled A Jewish Woman's Journey. I think that was a title. I'm not 100% sure. But I watched that, and I saw the sincerity in her as she looked into the camera lens and she shared about her trust in God's love to reconcile all of creation. My heart broke again, except in a good way. And the lights came on. Finally, that's what took me over the edge. And the lights came on with me, and the rest is history, and here I am doing these videos, you see? But it's going to require just a couple more paragraphs to explain how I research what I do. So as a good foundation, I took a little of what I gleaned from Jerry Boschman and Gary Amaralt, Michelle Amaralt, and Martin Zender, and I ran full speed ahead, and I haven't slowed down at all these last 8 years. If you look back, if you look in my menu of this channel, you'll see there was quite a few years ago, and for the most part, nothing has changed. There's been a few technical things that I've said, well, I was wrong when I said such and such, but nothing has changed is in referencing the character of God or the fruit of His Spirit. That's evident in my life and evident in people's lives who are on this amazing journey that we're on, okay? Nothing's changed about that, but just a few of the technical things, all right? I didn't simply want to believe what these men were telling me, okay, and Michelle, but I wanted to know why they believed the way they did and where their information originally came from. That's why I'm so passionate about this stuff. My research has shown me a few things just a little bit different than what, than what these three men and Michelle has shared. But even though both Gary and Michelle have passed away, by the way, I miss them terribly. I just do. They meant a lot to me. Anyway, I still love, honor, even though I disagree with some of the angles that they've taken. I still love, honor, and greatly respect them all. I really do. Even though I apply the similar academics of language and history as they have done, I also have incorporated my own personal common sense. All right, and this is probably where I veer a little bit different, because I approach things just sometimes I'm off, okay, as far as attitude. All right, and my viewers would kind of agree with that. But I apply my own particular breed of common sense, practicality, and when I think of the culture that I'm researching, I apply that culture into the whole mix. And I go a step further, and I'll explain in a minute. This video's coming to a close now. I believe that God has taught me that people are people, no matter what. And the only thing that has changed is time and technology. I also believe that I was instructed by the Spirit of God to put myself into the ancient mind to the best of my ability and walk a few miles in their sandals as real people with real common problems that plague us all, even now. Other than Jesus, the people we read about in Scripture, none of them were super spiritual. None of them were. But most were very barbaric and paganistic, superstitious, and the Bible often describes how God dealt with those issues with people. Okay? Unfortunately, most Bible researchers, they don't even consider turning to secular academia. And that's a shame, because I've also found out that there's a lot of great information provided by secular history books and writings. And when you combine that with Bible history, you get a much clearer picture of what really happened. And it's not so skewed by religion. It's more practical, more down to earth, okay, of how people are people. So folks, that's all I've tried to do with these videos. So welcome to my little end of this weird universe. Please stick around and help me to learn, to continue to learn. As I'm saying to my viewers and my subscribers, none of us are any greater than any other person. I might have researched something a little different than you have, but you know, that same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead, as the Scripture says, dwells in you and me equally. There's none of us that are greater than anyone else. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel of the Facebook, but scroll down on the Show Me More section of this video and take a look at the 6 links I provided. And I do thank you for viewing.